Why don't we ever see taxis on Valentine's Day? Because they're all out on dates. Now let me take you back to a Valentine's Day not so long ago. My car, old and trusty as it was, decided to take a day off. There I was, stranded on the most romantic day of the year. But as fate would have it, a taxi appeared as if by magic, ready to save my day. The driver, a jovial chap with a laugh that could shake the heavens, was my knight in shining armour. He filled the air with stories, tales of his own Valentine's Day adventures. Some were sweet, others hilariously disastrous, but all were shared with such warmth that it made the ride far more enjoyable than any car trip I'd ever taken. And that's how my Valentine's Day turned from a car breakdown disaster to a delightful taxi ride. But as I glanced at the rearview mirror, something struck me. The driver's eyes, they seemed familiar. A shiver of recognition ran through me. Those eyes, cold as ice and as sharp as a hawk's, were a haunting echo from my past. There was something about the way he squinted, a subtle narrowing of his gaze that sent my heart racing with an unnerving familiarity. Suddenly it all came rushing back, like a film reel playing in fast forward. The schoolyard fights, the stolen lunch money, the endless taunting. This was no ordinary taxi driver. This was my childhood nemesis, my old adversary. The bully who'd made my life a living hell all those years ago had somehow re-entered my world on this most unlikely of nights, Valentine's Day. Yet he seemed completely oblivious to our shared history. No flicker of recognition crossed his face as he navigated the city's labyrinthine streets. His focus was solely on the road ahead, the glow of the dashboard casting an eerie light on his features. His eyes, reflected in the mirror, were devoid of the malice I remembered. But were they truly void? Or was it a well-practiced facade? A wave of panic washed over me. I was trapped in a car, speeding through the city with my old enemy at the wheel. Every streetlight we passed under cast a brief, ghostly pallor on his face, adding to the surreal quality of the situation. The city outside seemed to blur into a whirl of lights and shadows as my mind raced. The taxi, which had been my refuge from the bitter cold, now felt like a moving prison. Every beat of my heart echoed the ticking of the meter, the numbers steadily rising, mirroring my mounting dread. The sounds of the city faded into a distant hum, drowned out by the pounding in my ears. The ride that started as a lifeline was now a living nightmare. Suddenly the friendly chatter of the driver morphed into a sinister smirk. The jovial banter, once a comforting backdrop to the city lights, had now become a chilling echo of a forgotten past. His laughter, previously warm and inviting, now carried with it a cold, haunting familiarity. It was a laugh that had once filled my nightmares, a laugh that I had hoped to never hear again. The taxi driver, once a mere stranger, had now become the embodiment of my deepest fears. His voice, once melodic and soothing, had turned into a dark symphony of my darkest memories. The friendly face in the rearview mirror had twisted into a menacing grin. His eyes, once filled with friendly curiosity, now bore into mine with a malicious intent. It was in this moment, under the harsh glare of the city lights, that the reality of the situation truly sunk in. The man in the mirror was not just a taxi driver, but a ghost from my past. But then, something unexpected happened. Just when the tension in the taxi had reached its peak, the driver, my old foe, broke the silence. Instead of the anticipated hostility, his voice was laced with a surprising remorse. "I've been holding onto this grudge for far too long," he confessed, his eyes never leaving the road. "I've come to realize that our past conflicts, they were senseless, foolish even." His words hung in the air, as heavy as the city fog outside. He continued, "I've been given a clean slate, a chance to correct my past errors. Today, on Valentine's Day, I want to extend an olive branch. Seek your forgiveness." His honesty left me stunned, a twist I hadn't foreseen. This ride, which started as a Valentine's Day dread, had taken an unexpected turn. In the end, the ride I dreaded became a journey of reconciliation.